Hi, I'm Alex Swain. This series explores the relationship we have with artificial intelligence, telling human stories of creative projects to understand the design process and highlight what we will need to protect in an ever more technological world. Today we are joined by Soheum, a UX designer who has lots of hands-on experience working with AI in her design process. We learn how she has already pivoted to working directly with coding agents to increase prototyping and exploratory phases. Well, hi Soheum, welcome to Design Futures.
Hello, thank you for having me.
It's really good to bring you onto the pod. We have had a few conversations with agencies, and you, I think, will bring a different perspective because you've been working as a senior UX designer. Maybe we could start with an introduction to your kind of roles over the last few years, what you've been up to, who you've been working for.
Yeah. Hello, my name is Sohem. I always like to introduce myself as a designer that I believe creativity comes from very contrasting values.
Yeah.
So I've been in a diverse range of companies from in-house design teams, consultancies, and in the public sector, including organizations like McKinsey, Bank of England, and Scarlet, which was my most recent role. Um, and I really like to work on sectors that I think design is relatively overlooked, like in the medical regulation sector, like financial regulation, or like in the pharmaceutical industries. Um, and especially in my most recent role at Scarlet, it is a medical regulation startup. And people think regulation and innovation, they're like two different values that are incompatible. But I think this is where the beauty comes and like the creativity comes from these like really contrasting values. So I like as a designer, I enjoy working in these fields.
Okay.
And I think it kind of like this also stretches to my personal work as well. I enjoy trying out new AI tools. I would like myself to be like AI pilled as much as possible, but I also really like having some off screen time. So
Mm.
I like a part-time ceramist as well. So like these two um yeah, I think this would be kind of like my design principle as a designer.
Yeah.
Always like enjoying two different like extremes.
Yeah. I think it's really good to use your hands as well, isn't it? And like make things
Yeah,
outside the
yeah,
kind of very computer heavy,
yeah,
day
yeah, of
jobs.
course, yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So you've been in sort of regulated industries then, and how have you sort of found the last few years working in these? Because I've also worked in regulated industries, and they can be very limiting and complex at times. And so, some you don't have the opportunity to use new tools because everything is so new and emerging, and sometimes internal systems haven't caught up. So, have you had access to AI agentic tools over the last few positions that you've been in?
Yeah, I think it really varied a lot based on the organization. Uh, of course, like it some places I could use the latest tools as much as possible. Some organizations I had some limitations based on like security reasons and
Mm.
other like other limitations. But I think it also, of course, it's the best if you could have the best like access to all the tools, but I think you could always access the same tools in your personal time as well. And I've also been thinking a lot at the end of the day, it's not the tools that matter. It's kind of like how you think and how you approach the problem space as a designer. So I think, yeah, it's good if you have all the access, but also that I wouldn't say that's like a limiting factor.
Mm, okay. But yeah, have you been getting your hands dirty with, the Figma Make and other kind of tools? Like what have you discovered that has been useful and interesting to
Yeah.
play with?
I think yeah, I've been like using different tools as you mentioned, Figma Make, like Cursor, also Claude Design. And I think everyone has their own favorite. But for me, I kind of always go back to Cursor. It's the most flexible tool that I can use. So yeah, I've been using Cursor a lot lately.
Okay, so so you're building as so you're designing kind of UIs and then you're building prototypes.
Yes, yes, I would say, yeah. Building prototypes, not only prototypes, some features I would ship directly from Cursor, and also like building some like products or digital products that I wanted to build, but I couldn't in the past because I didn't have enough engineering skills. But now I have the luxury to try out and build them myself.
It you call it a luxury. I mean, I think it's a real like positive benefit. It's amazing what we can actually now build. And I
Yeah,
always
yeah.
felt frustrated myself as a designer because you would be dependent on other people to build things.
Yes, yes.
Do you find this new way of working not just a benefit because you can see and build something, but do you it has it changed the way that you think about design and that iterative process?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah. I do think the specific process might have changed, because in the past we would, or before AI tools, we would iterate on, but they were all like in a prototype level.
Mm.
But I think the fact that we still iterate, it doesn't change. It's just that we still do iteration and we still do testing, but it became like another level. Like
Yeah.
we can now actually launch tools, like build features and present the 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 artifact that we made directly to the user. Which I think is still the same, but just the level changed. So it kind of like enhanced us way more, I would say.
Yeah, because you can actually iterate now straight into the code. Before, as designers, we would like to kind of pixel perfect every single screen and then go into development or get a sign off first and then build it.
Mhm.
Whereas
Yeah.
now you're sort of doing it in a duality sort of way, aren't you? It's you're you don't need to kind of necessarily define every single design element or component.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can give it a kind of a framework and then you can start iterating on the actual code end.
Yeah, 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 exactly. But I think in terms of like the feature itself, we can test it out way quicker. And like those prototypes, it doesn't have to be pixel perfect. And like it doesn't have to be exactly on brand or what like whichever brand that you're working for. But still the feature still works. So
Mm.
testing that out is very, I think it's been very useful compared to my previous design process in the
Yeah.
past.
So you can sort of play with a feature and get that to work. And then once it's finessed and the kind of UX is really nice,
Mm.
then
Yeah.
do you spend more time working on the design tokens or the kind of the visual layer to it, the aesthetics?
Yeah, 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 I would say so. And even if your team or if you as a designer have to define the design token early on, then I would say like it is pretty much one brand and it's pretty much like an actual service. But if you want that extra like craft and extra like finessing and in like really the details that we would like here as a designer, then that can come like in the later stages once we
Yeah.
define all the UX.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Have you also experimented with like prompts that give the LLM the design tokens in a kind of text format, so like a markdown file, or have you
Yeah.
played around with things like that, or have you given do you have a different process that you find works better to ensure that it is following some kind of brand identity?
Yeah, I think I've been playing a lot around setting cursor rules. Because I'm mostly working on cursor, so you could set up like different rules so that the agent can follow that specific rule. And that would be like rules such as like follow the components that we have in the code, or if or try minimizing creating new components, try utilizing what we have. And if you want to create new ones, like let me know before you make them. So there are like very different kinds of rules, and then also we kind of set new rules as we go. Like as we use the agent, if we wanted to act in a certain way, then we also like add additional rules. Um, it could be like rules like try to write as minimum code as possible so that it doesn't like create unnecessary code. Because as a designer, you wouldn't want to create like AI sloppy,
Yes.
AI generated sloppy code. So
Yeah.
I think rules, it always changes as we go.
Yeah.
We can add, remove, and yeah.
Was it kind of surprising at all to you in a positive way?
Uh, yeah, it was surprising, but also, you know, like it's at the end of the day, it's like you giving the prompt, so you have like a certain expectation of what the prompt or what the agent will do. So of course, it's like surprising, but if you kind of think about why it's surprising, it's actually you who prompted the prompt in the first place. So it's like you who defined the design token, you who asked to use existing components. Kind of like it is of course fascinating how the agent works, but then how you structure the agent and how you structure the instruction, that's also very like the new
That's a
skill
skill,
that
isn't
I
it?
haven't learned. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So, and the more you practice and do that, then you, yeah. So I'm what I hear is that it sort of makes sense when they do something different, but
Yeah,
then based on your prompt, but then you have to, it does have to, you have to change how you think,
yeah.
basically, in terms
Yeah,
of how
yeah.
you write a prompt.
Yeah, yeah, of course, yeah, yeah.
And yeah, okay, cool. Have you found the limits of what they can and can't do well? You know, what is it? What's the sort of
Yeah.
sweet spot that they can do?
Yeah, I think what I find it difficult for a agent to do is it's difficult for the agent to kind of think or explore with me in a horizontal perspective.
Mhm.
Um if I have like a very specific concept in mind with the agent, I can go like really deep into that concept and then test out, okay, is it responsive? Is it like is it doing all the interaction that I wanted to do? So like I could really go deep down, like vertically. But then if I want to explore the problem space in a horizontal perspective, it's a bit difficult because in Figma or in like or even in just pen and paper, you can like quickly start one concept and then go to another one and then like just like you could explore 10 different concepts. To do that with an agent, it takes a lot of time. Also, it takes a lot of like token as well.
Tokens, yeah, it's
And
costing. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, it is expensive.
yeah,
So, kind of like exploring that is a bit difficult, I think, with agents, I would say.
yeah. Okay. And have you found, have you tried different models, different suppliers, different foundation?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I think that's why I really like Cursor because you could always change different models. So,
yeah, sure.
yeah.
Yeah, okay. Is there one that you preferred within the cursor stack?
Uh, I always prefer the one from OpenAI.
Okay.
And then I kind of like change based on problem that I'm solving.
Yeah.
And then if I kind of find something difficult, then or if I'm trying to debug a certain like problem and then it's not working, then I kind of try different agents and then see if another like type of agent would solve the problem in a better way.
Mhm.
Or it also like kind of looks at it in a different perspective. So
Yeah.
um
They
yeah.
do feel very different, don't they? The different
Yeah, yeah,
LLMs.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah. Even just with writing, it feels very different.
yeah,
So
yeah. And
yeah,
and the visual LMs as well, those
yeah.
are really interesting. Like, have you ever been using kind of like a wireframe or an existing kind of UI that you've designed and built and kind of
Uh,
uploaded it as a
yeah,
visual
yeah, yeah,
reference?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think they are like in general very good at picking up screenshots and like if I give a screenshot of a design, then it kind of yeah, understands everything in the screenshot. I think something that was more explorative is when you're actually making like visual content, like new photography or like new imagery, like the way how you prompt it, the way how you talk to that agent, it's so different from like, for example, Midjourney to Nano Banana. So I think in terms of creating visual elements, that was more like the agent had more differences in how you
Yeah.
prompt them.
Do you feel very sort of positive about this shift, and how big a shift do you think this is?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of shift, of course. Uh, the biggest thing is we as designers we can do less maintenance task. Like for example, like maintaining a design system or a lot of the admin tasks in design that we didn't or that I personally didn't enjoy doing. Or or any other kind of like pixel pushing jobs,
Mm.
defining like specific margins and like the exact pixels. We of course sometimes still need to do it in a different way, but not as much as how we did before. So I think those kind of tasks we can spend less time,
Yeah.
but instead we can spend more time on actually doing creative tasks. So I think that is one of the biggest change. And I would say, yeah, like the initial phase of, as we mentioned, like testing out different prototypes, it became like way easier. Also, like sometimes now people who aren't designers, like product managers or even engineers or like internal stakeholders, they can create like a very quick prototype, sit out. So
Yeah.
that like initial phase of iterating, it really changed a lot. Um, but is because it changed from that initial phase of the design like process, I think we as designers we can spend more time in actually doing the craft and like
Mhm.
in the later stages of the design phase where you actually like finesse your design details. I think very kind of good change for
Yeah.
all designers. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it is quite interesting that a BA or product owner can now actually sort of
Yeah.
build something.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
not replacing designers, but they are helping to kind of brainstorm
Mm.
and bounce
Yeah.
ideas,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
good, isn't it? Okay, so as a UX specialist, it's a positive change, and it's helping you a lot.
Yeah, yeah, of course. I think since it's now so easy for anyone to make a digital service, I think it's really important to know like what you're making and why you're making it and like the storytelling behind it because there are like a lot of tools out there. And for example, let's say like if it's like an alarm tool or like an alarm like app, then anyone could make like their own alarm app,
Mm.
but then as a user or like a consumer, is there a very specific reason why I need to use your version of the
Yeah,
alarm app? So
yeah,
I
yeah.
think in that sense, like why you're creating something, like why you're launching something, um, has been like way more important than before.
Yeah, gives you the power to actually build and test things really quickly,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah, of course. Yeah.
and that, yeah, very good. So where do you think this is all leading to in the next like year or two?
I think still the main task as a designer wouldn't change, I think. For us to like create new products or listen to users, like still think about the design logic, but also at the same time, like storytell the whole concept. I think this like main role as a designer, like the main fundamentals,
Mm.
I think it wouldn't change. Because after all, like AI tools are just a tool. Like how you change from Photoshop to Sketch and to Figma. It's just like another step that like we're
Yeah.
going through.
How would you define that essence of what, I heard you saying storytelling, but which is such an important role as a part of the designer role, isn't it? Can you express like what other kind of real skills you think we have as designers that the agents can't ever do?
Yeah, you mean like as a designer, what
Yeah.
uh what the agents can't do.
Yeah, because I always sort of feel like, the human judgment is so valuable. So
Yeah,
they're
yeah, yeah,
amazing tools, but you
yeah,
have to have that kind of human judgment and that
yeah,
experience.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah,
but I do wonder whether in a year or 2 years from now,
yeah.
whether the models will be trained more on, specific visual references um, that are relevant to UX design in regulated or other industries, and whether they will get better.
I think what they can do is, of course, help us enhance the skills that we already have. It can like just write way better than us, or we could put less input, but it can produce better output. Like
Yeah.
same for prototypes, we can like put a bit less input compared to the past, and then it could like create way better outputs. But I think what it can't do is everything that happens outside of this tool. Like as designers, I think we have the ability to connect different people from different teams, different stakeholders. We know how to align them. But while we are connecting them, we also kind of bring back like, hey, this is what we need, or this is what users want.
Mm.
This is the problem, like pain points that they face. So with that expertise, we know how to like bring everyone in the same room and align them. And I think that like human interaction is something that an agent can't do. And even though like okay, that agent, I don't know, could set up a workshop or something, but still I think that like human interaction part it can't replace.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so detailed, isn't it? Our human interaction and this
Detailed, nuanced,
nuanced.
complicated,
Yeah, yeah,
sophisticated,
yeah,
everything. So
yeah. Do you think certain tools will evolve?
like yeah, I think it could I think a designer would always have like a certain agent or like a tool that they always refer to. And instead of I mean, we're not starting the conversation of like, oh, would it replace Figma or not? But still, like either it could be like Figma, Cursor, any tool, but a designer would always refer to an agent and kind of use the agent as like a brainstorming partner.
Right.
And then it can, yeah, of course, it won't replace all the thinking that designers do, but it can always like we can always talk to that agent as like a partner, like, "Hey, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? Try making this visual." Which is something that we didn't have before. It was kind of like us and the blank page, but
Yeah.
now we have like some kind of collaboration partner. So I think that would be like the biggest difference.
Yeah, okay, great. So more and more collaborative
Yeah,
interaction with these
yeah,
agents.
yeah,
And
yeah.
probably
Again,
speaking and listening as well, then not just typing and prompting.
yeah, they're just talking as well.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I think that type of like the way how you interact with the agent, it would be different for everyone. Um, but the fact that we have an agent, it wouldn't change, I think. And I think it's like you think it's another like third party tool, but if you think about it, it's actually you. Like it's another version of you.
Mm.
So even because you are the one who's asking the questions to the agent, and you are the one who's like framing the whole like context of what you and the agent talk about. So even though you think it's another tool, but it's actually like you and how you like set the context. So if you, for example, like set it this small, then the agent can only like think in that small box. But if you set it like a bit bigger, then the agent can like also think in a bigger
Mm.
box.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think in the end it is like you as a designer.
Mm. That's really interesting. But so if you set it more ambitious goals, then
Yeah, yeah.
it will grow around
Yeah,
those.
and ambitious goals, also like new problem spaces, new areas that you define, new ways to solve a certain problem.
Mm.
So yeah, it could be anything, I think.
Mm. It's all change, isn't it? It's
Yeah, yeah. Very rapid change.
Yeah.
I think like within a year or like after a year, like when we discuss about the same topic, it would be like very different. So
Yeah.
which is that's very exciting.
Yeah. No, it is good. Well, I can feel you are excited by it. So
Yeah.
me too. Thanks really, thanks a lot for talking.
Yeah,
Um,
thank you so much for having me as well.
that was great.